Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Bleh.
What's up with it, y'all? Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down.
Yeah, this is Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the Cut Radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of bars, man. Easy.
Keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
What's up, everybody? This your girl, Bonnie Dollars, the queen of trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the live show on Friday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704.
Yeah. What it is, man. This your man, King Eric, the media assassin. We're episode 673. Show sponsored by Screwball Radio, which you could check out every Saturday night with me, Black Poet and Comet. Sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Da Vinci Clothing. Got my host T-Max with the facts on the line. What's good?
Freshest frequency, Off the Cuff Radio. Shout out to our co-host of Spirit Ill out of Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, and of course DJ Sincere, Dirty Basement Radio. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on this another classic episode in the making, the individual that we have the pleasure on tonight. When you hear the stories of Death Row Records, you think gangster, music, swag, and just a whole lot of hustle. And there are so many stories, people from Cocaine to so many others that we have had the pleasure of interviewing to talk about it. And people that we've known off air and off air. This man that we are about to converse with tonight is one of the integral pieces of it in terms of the muscle, but also one of the most intellectually gifted, savvy, streetwise individuals who has always been stand up 10 toes down and represents everything it means to be a soldier in the crew as one of the pillars of making sure that everything was like it should be over the road. There's really not much else to be said about him other than we are so honored and privileged to have him. And he's here to tell us his life story, everything that he has been through, to clarify matters that have been a subject of speculation, and so much more about the man, the myth, and the actual. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the legendary, the one and only, Mob James. What's going on, man?
Hey, Mr. James Mcdonald.
What's going on, man?
What's going on with you?
Oh, man, just over here living life, just, trying to better myself every day, That's all. Taking care of my grandson.
Man, look, father, grandfather, soldier. I mean, you got a lot of stories to tell. And we got to get right to it. Tell everybody about yourself.
Born and raised in LA, moved to Compton in 73. Didn't do too much in school. At 12, I was in the streets. Trying to be a gang member, living the street life, wanted to be a part of the street life at a young age. Um, I had the opportunity to deal with both sides, Bloods and Crips. Some of
Mm-hmm.
my real cats of today are Crips. And, I live, that gang banging. I had that gang banging mentality for a while. I had two brothers, two sisters. One of my brothers was killed during Death Row era. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the other one, you know, living his life doing him right now, which we don't deal with each other. Um,
Understood.
I had the opportunity to take care of my mom for her last 2 years of her life, which elevated me to, you know, straight go out there and do right, live the right way, and be productive for my kids, grandkids, and so ever the people around me. Um, been to quite a few places, Australia, you know. Um, I like traveling, going out, hopping in my car, Texas, Virginia, Denver. I've been all over the place, but mainly the last 8 years, I've been sitting on my hands, raising my grandson. I got him he was 1 year old, and he's 9 now. So,
Mm.
I'm just living a life. You know.
Absolutely. Before we go on, Ma, we got to shout out Derek CPT and, of course, BC, both representing Compton. Thank you so
Nope.
much for this, guys. We appreciate the alley oop, and we're going to slam dunk this the best that we can. Appreciate you guys so much. Love you both. Thank you. Um,
Definitely.
Mob, when you came up during those days, everybody knows about pretty much when the Crips and Bloods between the years of 69 and 71, when Blood, Crip, and Pyru sequentially began to form. When you look at that time when you got put on in the set, what was going on in the streets at that particular time in terms of how uh, uh, everybody was interacting with each other, and what was really happening in terms of how you see things have changed so much over those years?
Well, when I step
Take
out
your
the
time. We
door,
got time. Take your time.
oh yeah, yeah. You want the 100 version or just you want me to run it down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When I first moved to Compton in '73, uh, it was out the hood. When I first moved in my first year of school, I was in the third grade, '74, I believe I was 72 or '74, and I got kicked out of the school district for trying to sell somebody. Um, being in the neighborhood and walking and meeting some of the guys that was over there already, it was just a tight knit. Um, like everybody was friends, everybody was together. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
no rah rah. It wasn't no bullshit. Everybody was cool, and
Right.
as I got older, 14, 15, I started going to juvenile hall, getting in trouble every day. Um, and I had a father that was, let's say, this cat whooped my ass every day. He made me what I became. Um, Busting my head open. I'm talking about stitches the whole nine. Uh, Whooping my ass with stitching cords, his fists. So I learned that nobody can hurt me like that dude did. And I took a lot
Mm.
of my aggression and my frustration out on the people I was surrounded with. 1980 was the first time I was shot, and I was
Mm.
shot here in my left side, could have died. Um, and that's when it was on, like really on. I would cut half a bat, cut a bat in half, and put a string around it, and I would terrorize with the motherfucker. Um, I was carrying 238s. I wanted to be aggressive as I could be. I wanted to show people or give other people the same shit that my father gave me. I had to be rough. I wanted to prove a point. And I started living like that. I would go to school just to start a fight. I would get there around lunchtime, and at lunchtime I would stand in the middle of the cafeteria, the area outside, and just paw rule. And I was just on some I didn't give a fuck shit because of my life bringing, my upbringings. So this man I'm talking about never taught me anything, never taught me fishing, none of that. He taught me how to be aggressive, how to be rude and disrespectful. Um, I never got nothing else from him. So I I I I did something I knew I was good at. No matter what, I had to be overboard when it came to um, jumping on somebody or wanting to go out and commit certain crimes. I had to be aggressive. I had to prove a point that I was there.
When you think about that
Especially
So
time,
around that,
oh,
yeah, I say
go ahead,
especially
King. Go
around
ahead.
that time period, yeah, especially around that time period where you was coming up, it was like the mentality of kill to be killed. You had to be more aggressive. You had to be more vicious than the next man. That was like the mentality going forward.
yeah, well, being a blood, being a Paru, in the early '80s, the beginning of the '80s, you had to be something special to be a Paru. You had to be something. You had to be with it to be a blood. And everywhere you went, everything you did, you was outnumbered. We was comfortable in
Right.
Compton because you had a couple of Crip neighborhoods sprinkled here and there. They wasn't together; they were separated. And but going to jail, you had people had to know who you were. You had to. My point of being a Paru was it was on my hat, it was on my coat, it was in my tennis shoes. You didn't have to ask me where I was from. Nigga, my shirt, my coat said Blood CK. Back up at Paru, my pirates had IRU, Paru. Everything about me, it wasn't no questions asked. And I had to make it my business to let people know that it was for real. This shit and this life I chose to live was for real. So, I've been shot on 4 different occasions. Um, it wasn't easy being a Paru. It wasn't easy. Going to prison. It's maybe if it's 50 Crips, it's 9 Bloods mixed with Parus. So, we was always outnumbered, but I had to prove the point that I was a Paru for real.
Um, Man, and I mean, shout out to our listeners in the stream right now. We see y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for listening. When you
Yeah,
think
hit
about that
that like
time,
button.
absolutely. When y'all think about it right now, in terms of when you think about what was going on at that time, of course, when you met the OGs, rest in peace to King Baba Louie, Bobby Lavender, and all those guys. I mean, you all people don't really understand at that time how big it was in terms of where the Crips had rose to prominence and how you all were outnumbered on the streets. And one of the Tanays that was always gospel with the Bloods and Pyrus was that there was never any infighting between each other. You all, for what it was at that period, it was always you stood together, one band, one sound, one crew, one flag, and we ready to bang on anything. Um, when you think about growing up out there in Compton, South Ward, South Waldorf, South Via Barron, Mahalo, West Palm, Stockwell,
Your
School
phone breaking up.
Street, can you hear me?
See, your phone's breaking up a little bit. Yeah, you good now?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you think about Compton Boulevard, Rosecrans, all them spots where everything went down at. Um, and just being out there. Um, Obviously you carved out a reputation for yourself. What did that when was the watershed moment that you realized that you really, really people recognize who you really were out there?
well, a lot of people, and this with a lot of guys, a lot of people know the name but don't know the face. They don't have a face with it. And
Right.
you would hear Mob James this, Mob James that. They never bothered me. I never looked at it like that. I was doing me. I was being a power root. I was being a game banger. Um, I was doing what I thought at that time back then what I was supposed to be doing. And I
Hmm.
lived that life. And I wanted to live that life to the fullest. And just like most of the people, these guys out there that y'all see, that's it's right here. And that's all I wanted to do. That's how I wanted to live. I became a gun fanatic in '80. When they shot me, they elevated the game. The game is now it's so easy to do you and prove a point because I didn't have to hold no conversation. I didn't have to ball up my fist. It was so easy to play that role. Should I say? I'm not bragging or nothing like that, but that was the easiest part of the game. That was the easy. I didn't have to uh, uh, be up close, which I preferred, up close and personal. Um, it just made my James' job a little more easier at that time. Um, being a power in Compton, everything in Compton was tight neck. No fight, no homies really doing this and that outside of the BS. But wasn't nowhere you couldn't go in Compton without being welcome.
Hmm.
Driving up Rosecrans was going from the east side to the west side, banging all the way up Rosecrans. You know what I'm saying? It was, I can say it was fun. It was just a way of life, man. It was just a way of life. And those that didn't live that way, or those that was part time about it, you know, they didn't matter. Even in the hood, they didn't matter. If you weren't living the way I was living, some of them guys fell victim, you know, to whatever the case might be or whatever I was feeling at the time, because they wasn't on that level. And if you shoot somebody from the hood, I gotta go and shoot somebody because you just ain't gonna do that.
Right.
And
Right.
that was the life, you know.
And you survived getting shot and you survived your prison sentence, man. Like, how did you maintain getting through that sentence, man? Because a lot of brothers when they getting locked in that cage, they just wild out or they just kill themselves, man. Like, how did you get by the day to day?
Programming. I kicked it with nothing but the homies. I didn't do the letting people borrow shit where you gotta go stab a motherfucker if he didn't pay you back your suits. I didn't do none of that. I just stuck with my kind And if it was on, it was on. And we dealt with it like that. Um, I was lucky not to go to prison and get 40 years, 35. I only did 2 years and something. And
Mm,
when I was paroled in 88, prison was boring to me. It wasn't every day you on your toes and you had to go through this, that, or the other. You had your issues. And for me, going to all the different prisons in the short time I went, I mean, it was boring. So I had no reason to go back to prison because I didn't have to prove nothing in prison. Wasn't nothing but a bunch of me in there. So it wasn't. I paroled in '88 and I've been out ever since.
God bless. When you think about
Yeah,
those years in terms of what led into it, when obviously the trajectory of what you dealt with growing up early sets you on a path. Um, that's I'm trying to get my words together because I want to give respect to it, but I also want to acknowledge in terms of where people, in terms of how they come up, it can influence their decisions, good or bad. When you looked at how you endured so much coming up and where you didn't have any other outlet but the street to really let it out on, um, what did you find in terms of living the street life in terms of how cutthroat and serious it was? And not just from gang banging perspectives, Mr. James, but just from what it meant to be out there. Because we got a generation of young people out there right now um, that really do not understand it. And you come from that era where it was really on when it got on.
right. Well, a lot of people, and I didn't understand it. Taken
Mm,
from my household and the things that, and the way that my father put his hands on me, whooped my ass. I mean, it was from a shoe, his fist, a razor, a stitching cord, whatever around him, that was a weapon. I learned that whatever's around you is a weapon. And
mm,
when what he did to me watching him fight my mother, I would attack. And this is a man I was scared of, but if he touched my mom's, I would attack. Right now today, I can't watch a man beat up a woman. I'm attack. I'm gonna jump in it. You know, because I see a lot of men touch women that a man just called him a bitch and he didn't do nothing. So when I stepped out there, bro, I stepped out there at a young age, but I understood what I was doing. I paid attention to my friends. You ain't finna touch me and get away with it. So I think they saw who I was before I did. I just came with that mentality that, man, I already had this before. I already seen this before. You know what
right,
I'm saying? And
Right.
me and my two brothers, we did everything outside of our baby brother didn't go and do the gang banging shit with us. We wouldn't take him, Timmy Root, we wouldn't take him and do nothing with him because we gonna have to deal with our moms. So
right.
me and Buntry were, were out there. So it's so crazy because I didn't pay attention to the fact that my pops made me what I was until I was out there doing something and I was over aggressive.
Right,
And,
right,
I'm thinking I'm carrying, I got the same traits as this dude. This dude taught me how to be something different. And being young, I didn't think about being happy. I didn't think about no good shit. Hanging out and walking the hood with a gun, at a young age, 15, 16 years old. I wanted to do something with the gun. I wasn't thinking about nothing else. I'm in this moment. And like I said, I've been shot in places where I could have been dead, you know? And I never thought about, damn, I could have died today. No, it made me more angry. I got a hole in my chest and I'm out there. They gotta pay for this. I got shot in the back, 4-5. They gotta pay for this. I got up and left the hospital. I got shot with a shotgun. Still got both shots in my hands right now today. And I was like, fuck that. I got shot, almost got my shit shot off. So every time they did something to me, it reminded me of my pops. It reminded me that they got to pay for it. And it wasn't until I was 17 when I had the opportunity to confront my biggest monster, Pops. And that's when I knew I'm a violent motherfucker and I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
He told my mom she was ready to come back home. No, you're not. Not here, you're not.
Right, right.
And I meant every bit, I meant every word of it.
Understood.
The biggest brother I had,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know more. He passed away. It's me not being the one, keeping it 100. Um, I wanted to, but it was too close to home, and I felt that I would hurt my moms and my sister and them if I did that. Then I looked at it on the flip side. If I'd have did it at 17, I'd have been out of prison by now. So I came home and an old ass man or whatever, but I got my money's worth. But no, I let things go ahead.
It's all
I let
good.
it be.
It's all good.
Huh?
And what it's all good. And one thing about it is revenge is something that is inherent when one injures, but sometimes that dish is best served cold because it's going to burn you with the heat in terms of what you try to serve to others. When you grew up, and this is all going on before 1984, which is a very poignant year because this is when crack hits the streets. So
Yeah, the crack epidemic.
on top of gang banging now, this is when crack hits the streets and the drug trade is in full swing in South Central. Compton everywhere. Freeway Rick, shout out to him. We've interviewed him a couple times on the show. Much love. What was it like once the drug trade hit? And this is where you really started seeing the gangs getting fractured because of this.
When it hit my hood,
Mm-hmm.
83, we all turned against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Cocaine destroyed what we had, the respect we had for each other. It
Mm-hmm.
killed the game. Um, One of my best friends, Master Ron, he lived with me. And when I got that sack, I went out and started doing me. And I left him out instead of me and my nigga making this money. I chose to do me.
Right.
And I
Right.
fucked up like a real brother, homie, slash, we do anything together. I fucked that off because of the cocaine. So
Mm-hmm.
we start seeing some of the homeboys' mamas, hanging out, looking fucked up, then turned into something different. And then it didn't matter no more. So that's when all the extra bullshit came out. You gotta watch your back. You gotta watch who you hang with. You gotta all those things came and it never went back to being right after cocaine. Never went back to being right. And that's just not in my neighborhood, but you seen it all over. The guys that made more money didn't fuck with the people that they really should have fucked with. A lot of guys lost their lives by the homies, wanting what they had. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the cocaine like killed us all. And not just
And
saying being a gang member, but black men in general. Killed us all.
it created that whole cutthroat mentality. Now you know it was already there, but you also had periods of where there was a sense of unity. You know, you had it with your gangs and you had it with the Black Empowerment movement. But when crack came in, it had just eliminated all that, and it created this selfish, cutthroat mentality that you even see now. It fractured the black community in more ways than one.
You know, back then in the early 80s, all the homies could come to my house and my mama, she'll feed everybody. Now
Mm.
you seeing some of the homies' mamas on the street. Now you seeing some of the homies you hang with having sex with some of the homeboys' mama, which we would never disrespect like that. But when cocaine came, it was easy for her to go and give herself to a young cat because of the drugs. And homies was getting dealt with, people in general. It didn't matter who was getting dealt with, getting down like that. So it opened my eyes and some of the other guys to see that this is what cocaine is doing to us and hurting your homeboys because they over overstepped their boundaries. Was It was a must at the time, but it kept going, and never turned back from it. Never turned back.
When you look at what was going on at that time, Mob, especially when the drug trade was really heavy out there in Los Angeles in general, when you look at guys like Waterhead Bo, Pat Johnson, Harry O, what type of influence did they have on the street in terms of dictating policy and, if necessary, discipline?
Man, I look at it like this.
Hmm.
A quarter piece is just like 5 pounds of cocaine. It's all the
Right.
same shit. If you
Quarter.
sold it to your people, we all guilty of.
Right.
I ain't never been no big time dope dealer, none of that shit. But we all guilty of what it turned our neighborhoods out to be. You
Hmm.
know? So I don't care if you were selling just 20s, making $10, $100 a night. We all guilty of the same shit. It fucked us up big time. It fucked up. I mean, you can't find a solid cat in 90, 85, 87. It was all over. And everybody that wanted to believe that we done came up out of this or we overcome that, that's a goddamn lie. You look at shit today. These cats out here on every other kind of drug, when cocaine played out, they doing every motherfucking thing around here. So it's a nonstop situation that we have in what everybody call they in the neighborhood, in their community. So man, you can't come back from that.
One thing about it, though, even with all the drugs and the hustling and the tussling and what was going on, there was also something happening in Compton as well, and it was the hip
What's
hop. It was the music, you know what I'm saying? And then not only just in Compton, but also Los Angeles, all over, Mixed
New
Master
outlet.
Spade. Yeah, man. I mean, Ice-T, NWA. I mean, you know, it was the music scene in Compton and LA was beginning to blossom. It wasn't the powerhouse that it is now, but it was a burgeoning nascent movement that was beginning to get traction. Tell us about what you experienced in terms of watching a lot of the local homies who had musical dreams and endeavors and what it was like around the area with homies hustling to get it, getting it out there.
Me living the life I lived, I really didn't listen to DJ Quick was selling tapes in the early
Mm,
80s. I
okay.
would listen to Kid, I would listen to Second and None. I didn't listen
Hmm.
to anything inside of that. You couldn't play rap music in my car really. I was always oldies. So the Battle Ram, when that came out, it caught my ear. I listened to shit like that, but amongst the homies playing it and all that, I never played that shit. I've always listened to oldie music. I learned from oldies. I didn't learn from street rap. I was past that bullshit. So what they was rapping about, we already doing this shit. And it wasn't as good as it is today. And, you know, it played a big part because when I came home from prison, I got Suge knocking on my door. This 1988. And they was
Okay.
doing, I never been to a concert or did none of that shit. So in 88, they had this thing called the Budweiser Superfest. And they
Mm-hmm.
was going to different states and counties and shit with all this rap shit. Back then they had uh Kumo D, Heavy D, Guy, different people. So
Mm-hmm.
Bill came and got me and brought me aboard. And then I brought one of my other homeboys, Showboat, aboard. But just the aggressive shit and watching how Suge was moving, I was amped up. I was amped up. I was ready to go. And if a motherfucker got near Suge, it was only cracking. We was in New York after the concert. New York Police Department was getting at these brothers' file. I couldn't find it. I had to get involved. Me and my homeboy Showboat. And we was ready to fight the police because they was bumping his brother up in a fucked up way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hooked up after that part. And you know, going different places with Suge and what Suge wanted at the time, I gave him everything he asked for. Everything he asked for. If he looked a certain kind of way, niggas got their ass whooped. It didn't matter how big they were. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. It didn't
When you
matter
think
at
about,
all. Or they
mm-hmm.
seemed. I,
Yeah, when you look
I
at that
can't hear you.
time, Mob, and obviously you said 88, so obviously, Straight Outta Compton's drop, King T, you said Quick was already moving, and of course Ice-T put on for the city of Los Angeles. Um, because when we think about the original crew, you, Suge, Buntry, Neckbone, Heron, all of them, and then some of the other homies would come later on. And if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because we want to get this right. Is this when Suge was still kind of in his early stages in terms of being a bodyguard and such at first, before he actually made the transition into music?
When he came and got me, he was a bodyguard for his cousin Big West
Yes,
out of
sir.
Capital Records.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's how he started his journey. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what Suge knew he had to do was people was already scared of him because he was a big dude and he was West cousin, and
Right.
they wouldn't fuck with Suge. But when Suge came and got me, Suge's whole thing was to terrify these guys because some of them guys wouldn't what they portrayed to be. A
Right.
lot of
Right.
those guys pussies, but on some rah-rah shit. Nigga, fuck your video, fuck what you're talking about. You gotta prove that shit. No, really. And this is what we brought to the table. Fuck all it, nigga, I don't want to hear none of that. You can learn about real motherfuckers. So if you talking like that, now you gotta prove a point.
Right.
Show me
Right.
you that bad ass cat. So a lot of cats fell by the wayside because we had a rule.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't going for it.
Just like that.
You
We ain't
don't
going
know,
for it.
no, you don't know who y'all fucking with, what y'all fucking with, or what y'all said, the people y'all stand. But we didn't play that game. And
Right.
it didn't take no time because bunch of them came after the fact.
Got you.
Me,
Got you.
K Dub, and two of the other little homies. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Shout out K
Came.
Dub. We know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they saw that and the things that we was doing, now here Buntry get out, save me a spot. I got you when you get out of prison. And when he
Mm-hmm.
came home from prison, you know, I didn't really want to do the flying shit and I didn't want to, you know, the extra. I was tired. So Buntry started going places and being Suge right hand man. And
Mm-hmm.
then Buntry and the neck bones and the G's and those other cats. So, but it was all homies. So it was good. And it just changed the game when you seen 20 big old black motherfuckers straight out of the penitentiary. 15 of them still on parole but didn't give a fuck. And they whooping ass, beating the shit out of people, living that life for real. I'm talking about get 20 motherfuckers in a room and you don't hear, I can't do that, I'm not gonna do that, or you do it yourself. They would take flight. And when people saw that, they're not looking at Suge. They looking at his goddamn bodyguards.
Right,
They looking
right,
at all
right.
of that. So just imagine going to a club and everybody does, you know, spread
Part like the
apart.
Red Sea. Part like the Red
Yeah,
Sea.
that part. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. So now we are known for. I don't give a fuck if you're a football team. We gonna beat your ass. Get out of line. We whooped the Rams football team ass. You know they got out of line with Suge. Suge called it. There wasn't no conversation. It was. It's like 7 of them, big old motherfuckers. I'm talking about, and I know they in shape, but we whooped their motherfucking ass, no questions asked. And we were pissed off after the fact because Suge should have handled this business right then and there without us there.
Right,
Um,
right.
but he had no leadership. He was no leader whatsoever. So he did the right thing. But, you know, I mean, if I can get 500, 300 because I knocked the nigga out, I'm going for that one punch every time.
One sock on the jock. Look, ain't
Man,
no
you know,
look.
you would be bonus
Jaw straight
for
test.
yeah, you would get a bonus check. And the homies was hungry. And mind you, none of these men ever worked a job, a real job to get a paycheck, go cash a check, go home, pay your bills, none of that. So that took them from robbing people, selling drugs, and a lot of them got off prison, out of parole because of death row. It was a plus, but then it has its defaults.
We're gonna get back to that in a second.
Yeah, and
Because
I can imagine, man. Like that's like was that like a huge transition for you from you leaving the penitentiary to now you in the midst of these celebrities and you going to all these fancy functions and all that. Was that like a cultural shock for you?
No, coming out of the penitentiary and then getting with Suge on the Budweiser Superfest shit and being active, it kept me with the gang banging mentality.
Right.
mhm.
Going and meeting um, all these different celebrities. I'm not a fucking celebrity. I'm only here to get paid. I'm only here to do my job. So when it came to Snoop and all them guys, I didn't give a fuck about them cats. Y'all are rappers. I wasn't a groupie. I wouldn't been hang with them. I never smoked weed. I didn't drink with them. I didn't do none of that. I'm this part. We on the other end of the table, and my job is to make sure nobody touch you, nigga.
You know,
But
when you right. Now, when you think about it, and we want to go back to that a little bit. Now, this is 88 mob when you're talking about this. So this is when rap music is really beginning to kind of across the board on both coasts. Now, what you said we were laughing about it so hard because we respect what y'all was on. But see, the East Coast really didn't understand LA gang and Compton gang banging politics until y'all got out there. So they
yeah,
really understood that y'all were the real deal. Like, when Oliver Stone dropped Colors in 1988, coincidentally, and Ice-T, again, dropped the theme track for it, that was a lot of
Yeah,
for
we
the
really didn't
country.
get the gist of it. We really didn't get the
Yeah,
gist of it like that. We got to
yeah,
understand it, but we didn't know how serious it was. He started
right.
making films like Boys in the Hood and Menace to
man,
Society, but stuff like
let
that.
me tell you something.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Boys in the Hood, Straight Out of Compton, and all that bullshit those cats was doing is straight. It's so watered down you'll drown. That
I, be-
bullshit.
I believe it.
And but a lot of people on the East Coast were intrigued with that type of shit. But that that here, we didn't look at that shit like that. That was bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Straight out of Compton, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Show me one motherfucking gangster that was on death row. Dr. Dre. Where I start with him. Straight pussy. They were coming to Compton doing shows and shit where this dude had glitter lipstick and a
World
whole
class wrecking
goddamn
crew.
body looking like a motherfucking reflector. Those cats was never taken serious.
Right, right.
The only closest thing that they had to a real gangbanger was Easy.
Shout out Kelly
Outside
Park.
of that, man, them niggas, man, don't believe what you see and what you hear until you test that motherfucker. They were pussies. That was
Yeah.
pussy.
And
You
the thing
know,
about
and
go ahead, go ahead. No.
you listen to these guys and everybody want to be a bad guy, like Suge
hmm
Knight. Everybody want to be that bad guy, and I don't know why. Some people are supposed to stay in their place, know who you are, and know what you bring to the table. You don't need
Mm,
to do this and get out
that
there and
part.
get your crap good. And a lot of these dudes out here want to be the tough guy and go out there yada yada, and they not here no more. So I don't want to say it like that, but it was all bullshit.
No, we get what you're saying, Mob. We get what you're saying, and
Yeah,
we respect it.
You got a lot of kids out here who want to be gangbangers and live their life because of what they see. I tell people and kids today, you don't want my life. You never want to be like me. You never want to live that life. Everybody can't live that way. And through the grace of God, I'm going to say I was lucky several times.
hmm
I could have been good. The things and the way I lived in prison or on the streets, I should have been in prison for the rest of my motherfucking life. But I've been blessed. I've been given a second chance, a third chance until I realized that, man, boy, you blessed. Knock this shit off. And I gave it up. I let it go, you know. And uh, 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 these guys want to live that life, and they don't have an ounce of that in them. And they continue to try, try, try. The shit we have today, this is not gangbanging shit. These niggas are straight stupid.
Let's
They
get
not
into
paying attention. Go
mhm.
ahead.
Let's get into that, Mob, because because we're glad you brought that up because you're dropping so many jewels on us. When you look at what was going, when you look at what you all did, and you all had a real reputation back in that day and
Yeah, we
still
out there.
do. When you look at what's going on social media today and how so many are, we got so many, youngins out there, the YNs, who are so quick to put out all the business of
And
all the
content.
bad things that they do out there, all the worst shit imaginable. And all in the name of trying to manufacture or get a microwave media cook up of some clout out there. You as an OG, how would you all back in the day have looked at it in terms of individuals who were that blatant and stupid, we might add, to put all their criminal behavior online like that?
A lot of these guys that's on this motherfucker today would have been killed. A lot of these guys, these social media
Mm-hmm.
is our cocaine today. Social media is creating gang wars when it shouldn't even be, because
Mm-hmm.
these students getting on here want to be this bad cat now. Some of these cats you hear say they just started gang banging in 2015. Yeah, you know, you can't start gang banging in 2015. So living this life today and then getting on social media and posting it, you're telling everybody. And if you had my mentality then and put it with the social media shit today, a lot of these cats wouldn't be here. What the fuck? I think it's funny, but social media is our cocaine. And a lot of these cats, and it's crazy because people that watch this shit, this is the shit they love to hear. They don't want to hear men talking and a man addressing his situations and getting from point A to point B, being a grown man. I done had homies die in my arms.
Mm.
I done seen some shit in my lifetime where a lot of these cats today is gonna throw up or run. But here we are, social media is bragging about bullshit. Stories that they done heard, and now they able to tell them as if they the real niggas. My neighborhood, some of the cats in my neighborhoods, what all the pussies are being called OG right now. Why the fuck y'all calling this nigga OG? This whole ass nigga. I done beat this nigga. I shot this nigga. I mean, this part of it, this new generation bullshit is,
Take your time. Take your time.
yeah. I be getting mad,
It's
but
okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. We got an hour. Take your time.
you know,
Take
I
your
thank God
time.
that I think the way I think now,
Mm-hmm.
because I can honestly tell these cats, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all doing.
Right.
These
Right.
cats is worried about being told on, but you come on social media and tell on yourself.
Right. Right.
Now you in jail. Now you in the feds. Now you get mad at this dude and you're telling the police everything this dude is doing. Now you got gang ricos all over the globe because you got California cats coming to different states and cities that wouldn't warrant it, or they running from their hood and then they go in different states and start uh, uh, this gang shit, and it's too late when they find out he was a fucking pussy that this nigga got them in Ricos. It's so crazy that, we don't pay attention to what the fuck we see in front of our face. And we allowing social media to dictate how we walk out the front door. I
Mm.
want to be like that. I want a podcast. Anybody can do a podcast now. Anybody can say what the fuck they want to say. They taking it off of music and bring it to social media, talking. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Who gives a fuck? That's how people should look at it. But we're not looking at it like that. Everybody got a camera, everybody videoing shit, and you see people taking videos of young men on the ground. I got so many pictures that people want me to post when I do a show.
Mm-hmm.
I learned when my brother died that taking life is painful, for one. And we
Mm-hmm.
watched the pain in my mother, my aunties, and my family. And it fucked me up because, damn, this is what I'm doing? Just because I heard one person, hundreds of people are affected by it. So just imagine, just
It's
imagine
okay.
the
It's okay.
bullshit. The bullshit. No, I'm. It's so fucked up because I have a lot of remorse in a sense
Right.
that if we don't look at life, if we don't appreciate living, we are
Amen.
doomed. And
Amen.
social media is telling us that our life don't mean shit. And these people allowing us to look like fucking idiots on social media instead of, these grown men like me in their 60s, late 50s. Man, tell these cats, stop, knock it the fuck off. But everybody wants this quick bullshit ass dollar. So this is what we have today. So, man, I say get rid of all of them.
It's wild.
It's time.
Hey,
You,
I was gonna say this to you. You
mhm.
know what's wild? Just like we saying, we paralleling this thing with social media. This thing literally put the battery in a lot of people's back that they would normally never do. But on social media, you could just be anybody or
Well,
anything for that.
it's not just social media. Like me growing up, it was a lot of things that wired me. Um, so this whole planet, it ain't nothing but a cycle. But it just changes a little bit and you see some different shit. But everything I see today has similarities to the way we were brought up in the 70s and here in the 2025. So it's just all a cycle. Killing is the same, but they killing in a different manner. Killing is the same, but they're using bigger guns. It ain't 38s and shotguns. It's AK-47s, is high-powered weapons.
We
So 9 times out of 10, you pointed the guns they got today, you gonna peel a motherfucking cap. Opposed to all these bullshit bullets I got in me. Imagine if it was in this time, I wouldn't be here.
Ma, we heard stories about how there were guns left in the rail yard out in LA, and you know exactly what I'm speaking on when I said that. How true are those stories where about a train yard there'll be crates of weapons and it would just be whoever could just get them could get them?
Let me tell you, on Firestone, on the train tracks,
Yes, sir.
you would go out there and find containers opened. This is my uncle at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you would find pretty much whatever the fuck you wanted. And they knew. They knew
Right.
what it was all about. But it had to come some kind of way. And I say this, a dumb motherfucker ain't gonna pay attention. This is what the police want. This is what society is telling us. We need y'all to kill yourself. So we gonna step the game up for you. Outside of what the police was doing to the gangbangers, how they would take us to different neighborhoods and drop us the fuck off. How the police, if the gangs, if we weren't at war, They created one by taking life and then come back and say that, oh, we heard Whoop the Whoop killed your homeboy. Why would the police do that? They wanted war. They had to have conflicts. So as we continue to kill each other, now they got OSSS, they have the gang units, they have all of these things to employ these guys that's working against us. You couldn't be in or caught somewhere in Linwood after 12, you might lose your motherfucking life. Because they was out there and they was ready to kill. And a lot of people lost their life just because. So it was rough in our days. And you still having that shit today, but just in a different way.
It's crazy,
Now you got
Mob. It's crazy, Mob, because when we think about it today and how everything is ubiquitous, because what you said really, really struck a chord with me personally about what you said about social media and how motherfuckers feel like their life ain't worth nothing. And we're not, and what I'm about to say is not from a street level, but it's just about living life. You know, when we look on social media, everybody's rich, everybody popular, everybody's way up. Like nobody goes, yeah, it could be anything, and nobody, and no, and they're just totally going to ignore the fact that this is real life. But like King said, on social media, everybody wants to portray an image, and you got these young people in their young early 20s believing that their life is a failure because they're not a millionaire or they're not an influencer. I'm like, you're in your early 20s, you're a baby, you still living your life, you still trying to find yourself out there. You know, don't let the
always
well, you got more cats out there claiming to be rich and they ain't nothing but a fraud. You can look and play the part.
Right.
You know, like I said, when them rappers were doing their videos, they had a man come with a box and everybody put their jewelry on. After that shit was over, they took that jewelry off and put it back in the box and he gone. All that shit was a facade. All that shit is bullshit. Everything you see on social media, it ain't that many cats rich.
Right.
That's really living like that. There's so many cats out here want to be rich, but why are you acting like that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why are you pretending to be in something that you're not? A rich motherfucker don't do nothing but create a whole bunch of enemies and get that one motherfucker that want what he got or what he think he got.
Tell it.
And for playing that game. So, man, I've been around rich people. They are the boredest motherfuckers on the planet. They need friends. They need friends. And it don't pay to be rich and then go out there and look for those Mob James niggas. It don't pay you to go out there and want to be or act like the Mob James niggas. You ain't one of them. You ain't like that. You wasn't born like that. You wasn't raised like that. So how are you just gonna jump off the fucking porch and be this gorilla? It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Not for most.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I wanted to say something right quick, King. What you said, Mob, there's an instance of what happened, and what you said is absolute wisdom. I don't know if you're familiar with NBA player Javaris Crittenton. He's doing a life sentence. He was in a he was in NBA, and he got into a situation where he got 23 years, and actually he's released now. I had to check my notes. But what happened was he got it caught up with the gangs while he was in the NBA. Like, he's an active player, and he got caught out with a Crip set. So he got in some, and even before that, this is the situation you may have remembered when he got into it with Gilbert Arenas in the locker room over, I think it was a card game dispute, and they pulled guns on each other in the locker room. But the stakes got escalated when he got in a situation where he actually shot and killed somebody because it had to do with a robbery. I think that somebody, if I got the story right, it was somebody robbed him and then they were looking for the people. They robbed him and then they just they saw who they thought it was, and then the guns got blazed and somebody got killed. But in all, this was a guy who already had a career, and then, like you said, he wanted to jump off the porch once he got money and a profession and wanted to get out in the streets.
Suge Knight is doing 28 years. Was a millionaire. Death Row was worth over 64 million or a little more than that at one point. A lot, and pay attention.
Yes, sir.
I said it was a secret.
Yes, sir.
Just because you rich don't mean you got to go back to where you came from to prove a point or say, I'm down. I got y'all. No,
Right.
You make it, you leave. You made it for a reason. You take care of your family, do whatever you do. But you knew growing up and seeing the hood, everybody, you can't take everybody with you. One of Suge's biggest mistakes. Getting all the homeboys together and bringing them and trying to do something different. But then here we go. You got nothing but bulldogs. Everybody want what you got. Everybody want to be where you at. So all of these guys and some of these guys wanted to talk about the next guy to get closer to the guy.
Right.
And it created a problem. But here we are. I want to go back to the hood because I'm a millionaire. Boy, motherfuckers will be mad at me. Just got to be mad. I'm going to move on and live my life. I don't have to go back to the hood. And you see Puppy and all of these other brothers want to live that life and be rich. Everybody should look at the formula. Every motherfucker that's rich, from NFL, that dude that killed his baby mama, to all these other stuff. We out here. We got a good life. There's no reason for me to go back and try to live something I got away from. I escaped. So here they are in prison. Here they are in the feds for nothing. Move the fuck on.
I mean, look at Sam Hurd. Look at Sam Hurd, who played in the NFL, played, I think, for the Cowboys and the Bears, and he got busted in a drug ring. You know what I'm saying? You know, go ahead.
Being rich, it's more bad for us to being rich than it is to be rich and happy. Because the majority of the black men that's become rich or got lucky and made it want to come back and realize some shit that he was not really involved in. A lot of these guys, why gangbanging, if we look at it and see the shit on social media, everybody sees that gangbanging ain't giving you no paycheck, you don't get a pension, you get penitentiary, or someone is dead. How healthy is that to be a gang member? So you would want out, just like a rich nigga. He would want out and go live your life. Grab your partner and help your partner out. But ain't no trying to be a gang member rich. And there's a lot of them that want to be gang members because that's what they need out there. That's what they need out there.
When you look at it,
I was gonna say this. Now, many people going back to the time where you was on death row, and many people will say that the minute where Suge started being on magazine covers, wearing the red on and stuff like that with the Rolls Royces, that was kind of like leading to the downfall. Now, when you being around him personally interacting with him every day, what did you start seeing him starting to change for the worse?
Man, let me tell you, Suge wore a green suit, looked like the Grinch. And his dress code wasn't when his dress code changed, he changed. When the
Mm-hmm.
cars came, he changed. And it was about Suge at that time. When Suge started doing the vibes and all that bullshit, Suge became one of these motherfuckers that now that he got it, now he want to be everything. Just like the majority of these cats that make money and they want to be everything. Now I can be seen. Now I can fuck and be around certain women I couldn't be around at the beginning, or I knew wouldn't fuck with me. Suge became everything he wasn't supposed to be. Suge didn't have no business interacting in, let's say, squabbles. Uh, he didn't have to be argumentative with nobody. You had a force behind you that took care of all that. But when he wanted to participate in the squabbles and all that other shit, this is what Suge wanted and couldn't do as a teenager. His mama
It's
and them didn't allow him to walk through the hood. His mama didn't. They didn't allow him to wear a burgundy bandana. Suge didn't carry pistols and walk the hood with us. So by having money, it allowed him to change. It allowed him to buy his way into some bullshit. It allowed him to sign his name to the devil and implement himself in a lot of the bullshit and the things that we were doing. Now
it's
he's a
cra-
penitentiary.
it's crazy, Ma, because we came up in that era of because we were young at the time that Death Row, formerly Future Shock in 1991 before it became Death Row in 1992. So we were young at the time when we first heard the Chronic with Dr. Dre dropping Deep Cover, of course, with Snoop. Shout out to them, for the music. And when Death Row came out, and when Dr. Dre's A Chronic album dropped, we're watching nothing but a G Thing video, and we're like just blown away with everything. And we like, yo, like they really living it out there.
And that's what influenced y'all. Y'all on the outside looking in.
Right, right, right,
Everybody needs to ask themselves. I wonder what happens when the cameras turned off.
right.
I wonder how it should interact when the camera's off with all these gorillas or without the gorillas. That's what everybody needs to focus on. Everybody is so damn, they live in that life. Snoop Dogg didn't see the benefits or reap the benefits of these motherfucking albums until Suge said it was time.
Mm.
Suge would give them cars and there be in his name.
Snoop
So
talked
if he
about
got
this in an interview.
more,
He talked about this. Yes, he talked about this.
yeah. So, like a lot of these guys, I was just telling my homeboy yesterday, how in the fuck did Suge have that much control when all these gorillas, or the majority of these gorillas, turned in their car because he went to prison? And you go back to living a regular life because he don't want you to have fun out there. And motherfuckers turned in their cars. And I didn't
Mm.
understand that. I wish he would ask me for something. Nigga, I'm gonna beat your ass. Shut the fuck up. For
It's
real. I didn't play with him.
no, and
You
it's
know?
all facts. Yeah, and it's crazy,
Yeah.
Mob, because when we look at it at the time, because from the years of 1992 to 1995, with the infamous Source Awards, we didn't really know who Suge was like that. For those 3 years, he was pretty much in the background. And then when he had that infamous, thing in New York, where he went to New York and all the, Pyrus was with him, and he said, y'all want to sign to a label, y'all don't see an executive all up in the videos
Big dog
dancing.
shit.
And the good thing about it, if Suge knew how to dance, that motherfucker would have been in it. He would have been dancing. Real
you
talk.
know, but
let me say this real quick.
No, go ahead, please.
Suge gave us opportunity, but at the same time, giving opportunity, he introduced a lot of these guys to something they didn't want to let go.
Right,
They were having fun meeting the people they was meeting because they'd never been out of Compton. They were having fun with getting a paycheck, having a bank account, fixing their cars and do certain shit. So, but then in the same token, we lost 12, 13 people, up under his bullshit. So we
This is
lost more than what we got.
this is stuff that happened off the books in terms of the stuff that didn't make the news, right?
This that happened when the cameras was off.
Right.
So the only people say free Suge Knight and free this and free that. The last one that was killed, Terry Carter.
Rest in peace, Terry.
If they say Suge is a beast, somebody told me if Suge was on the street, I wouldn't talk the way I talk. So on Bomb First, I told Suge like this. You this hood nigga, name or tell a story you was in the hood that something happened. Or I'm gonna give y'all 5 different things that I done to Suge. I can tell you right now today. I tell Suge I'm gonna whoop his ass and I got a check for it. Come to the office, I got something for you. Man, they just want you mad at me. I go to the office, I get a goddamn check. So I didn't have to fuck with you. I just tell you I'm gonna whoop your ass. I got paid. So it wasn't nothing, with his lowrider. I got 5 motherfucking checks because I told the nigga I ain't giving it back. Fuck you. How many times I catch this nigga in the corner and about to whoop his ass? So all of this is behind the scenes, bro. And I can honestly say, and I'm gonna use me for an example.
Okay.
There's always a tough guy out there. But nigga, remember, there's a tougher guy out there that feel the same way I do. So I say tread lightly. I say watch your back. I say everything. But Suge Knight was not one of those guys. I tell it to his face, or I tell anybody else. Suge was a pussy and still is a pussy. And anybody want to say I'm lying? Prove me wrong.
And there's another part, and there's another guy you forgot too, Mob. That's the guy who you push around too much, and then he's decided he had enough. He may not be the toughest guy, but he's decided today ain't the day no more. And then he's going to come and do something.
I mean, everybody can continue to be pushed in the corner. That's why I say when you approach somebody, you got to be 100 and real with it. You got to be faster on the draw than that person because you don't know who you fucking with. And a lot of these guys are seeing that today. A lot of these cats in LA are losing their lives because they don't pay attention or they believe that they're the toughest motherfucker out here.
Being with your grandson like you are, we know how much you love him. As a black man, as a parent, what does it mean for you for him to have a better life in terms of understanding the world, and that there are possibilities for him to really, really go out and fulfill his potential? What's up? How you? What's going on with you, man? You good?
This Leno. All right.
What's going on?
He gone.
He made a cameo and then he dipped. But what does it mean for you to for him to have a better life and to understand things in terms of knowing that there's more outside of gang banging? There's academics, there's sports, there's finding a vocation that he can express himself in, that he can really grow and flourish.
Man, I have 2 sons. And I refuse for my boys to live like their father. So my sons grew up not being able to pierce their ears because I never wore earrings. I don't wear jewelry. My sons have never ever been in jail. My oldest son will be 40 in January the 5th. My youngest son will be 25. They have never lived their gang life. If I'd have seen that in them, they'd have had a problem with their daddy. I'm not living with that. I have never thought that I need to be their friend to be their father. I'm their
Right.
father. So my daughter, on the other hand, her mother was a gang member, from Southside, and I took care of her for 8 years when her mother went to prison. And I waited a year. Her mother got married, got into truck driving with her husband, and I allowed my daughter to go back to her mother. But my daughter took the wrong turn because her moms went back to doing drugs and all this other shit. So this is my daughter's son here. She went to prison and they tried to put him in a system. So at this time, I'm in the motorcycle club. I'm doing everything outside of the law. And he was 1 year old. So I said, I can't let this happen. I'm Papa. Being grandpa is like being a father. So I took it upon myself to walk away from everything, drinking, everything, to raise my grandson. So here I am, just stop the street shit, and I'm taking care of 1 year old child. I respect every single mother out there that take care of their kids. That's a hard ass job. And to stop everything, the females, all that other shit, to raise my grandson, I just patted myself on the back and said I can do it. And here we
We'll
are.
pat you on the back for it. We'll shake your hand, everything.
Man, and it's a lot of men out there like me that's doing that. A friend of mine woke me up to, man, they just don't televise how strong black man is with their kids and their grandkids. So I'm doing it without the knowledge of knowing that there's a whole bunch of us out there like me that's doing that. And it's been a privilege. My grandson saved me from going back to the old me, from listening to people speak negative on me. He didn't only save me, but I swear to God on my mama, he saved other people's lives. I take pride in raising him. I take pride in being a grandparent. I got him and I got 2 granddaughters. Every female I've ever had that had kids, I'm pops. I'm very family orientated, and man, I love raising my grandson. So I teach him. I don't do the things that my pops did to me. I don't deprive him, deny him of nothing. If you earn it, I'll give it to you. It ain't just given to you. So I'm teaching him all the things that I didn't understand growing up. And one thing I love is he's not growing up angry. So at this point, I can honestly say I broke that chain with him.
Praise God.
And I give all praise to God because me at that time, I knew I wasn't ready to do that. Thank God that all 3 of my kids' mothers had jobs and were good at one point, and outside of the time I went to prison or running the streets, I had my sisters, my mama, my aunties. They picked up the slack where I failed. And I just made it a promise that I would never fail with him. So I
That's
do everything
powerful.
to protect. I am a protector. So he ain't got to worry about nothing until he 18. He gonna be ready.
You know,
And believe it or not, in a way, children could be used as a way to break a lot of those chains.
Yeah, but one thing as a parent you gotta understand, becoming a parent don't come with a book.
right.
You know, and I look at it like, you know, my biggest thing when my pops used to whoop my ass, my mom steadfast. She sat on the bed and watched the things that he did to him. When he gave me these 18 stitches in my head, she watched this dude beat me with a shoe. And I always hated her for it because if you watch the animal channel, Animal Planet, if you fuck with a cub, the mother gonna kill who's ever a lion is gonna kill whoever, whatever predator is trying to fuck with her children.
Mama bear,
And
anybody, anything. Yeah.
it's natural instinct. And when it came to me, I didn't get it. So I automatically I resented my mother. I was the most disrespectful cat when it came to my mother and women. A woman couldn't tell me shit. Fuck you, bitch.
Right.
And that's how I used to talk to my moms. So going to prison and listening to these older cats and having time to reflect, laying in that motherfucking bunk and seeing my mother was more afraid of this dude than I was. So she didn't intervene because she felt she was gonna get her ass whooped too. Let us both get our ass whooped. It didn't happen that way. And I'm telling you, in 2017, my mother found out she had cancer. I left my wife and went to Compton. And I took care of my mother. She found out in 2016, 2018, she passed. But I
Rest in
stayed there to
peace.
the very last day. I took care of her. I cooked for her every day. I cleaned up behind her every day. When I left and went to Las Vegas, my sister was there. So, you know, learning how to respect my mother, I learned how to respect women, period, in general, like truly respect them. And it wasn't till then my relationships became longer and longer. You know, sometimes I fucked up, especially on the motorcycle set. I would get caught with a woman on the back of my bike, and my girl be mad for a minute, and shit happened. But when my mother passed, she passed a day before Thanksgiving. This is the hardest time for
I understand.
me and her. It allowed us to talk. It allowed her to apologize to me for what she didn't do, the things she allowed. And then I couldn't do nothing but be a man and accept it and apologize to my mother for being this asshole, for being this disrespectful boy. Wasn't a man, this disrespectful boy to my mother. And it made me it made me it made me a better man. It made me a better man.
You know, Mob, when we and God bless, because that was powerful. That testimony was powerful because you found the most powerful element of emotion that can reside in a human being, and that is the power of forgiveness. That is the
And that
essence of
shit made
God's.
me
That is the
it
that is the
it
essence of
tears
God's
me.
love. That is
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it tears
that is the
me.
essence of God's love. And
Right.
you know, for everything that you have been through, everything you have overcome, whether or not you know it, you have inspired so many people with your testimony. You have reinforced and been the actual embodiment of Black male responsibility. I want to send this out to our audience. Do not
Absolutely.
listen to the statistics. Well, the statistics don't. Well, I'm getting my words. Um, don't listen to the negative stereotypes painted about Black men, because more Black men in this country are involved with their children. They are not deadbeats, and they are active in making sure that their kids are, prepared. Um,
Right.
you are a testament to this. To have two sons that have never been to prison, to have a grandson who you are showing it from both sides in terms of the academics and the street, to let them know what not to be involved in. You're to be celebrated and commended. That's not something that at Off the Cuff Radio or for humanity that we take lightly. We thank you for the time that you have given us to tell us about your life and to be so open and transparent. We cannot thank you enough for this.
Well, a lot of people that do these podcasts, they don't want to hear. I turned down a lot of interviews because they don't want honesty from us. If I can't explain my life, the shit I went through, and I'm not by myself. There's a whole lot of these cats out here that went to gangs and living that life because we endured and went through so much. I grew up, my mother and father never bailed me out of jail ever in my lifetime, but they bailed out both of my brothers. Um, I wasn't worth, and I felt I wasn't worth the money. I was a risk. And a lot of these cats are just like me. A lot of these men out here are just like me. Me understanding what a Black man is. I was 50 years old, damn near 50 years old when I understood being a man, like a for real man. Um, and so many men out there got real stories. If they put it out there and people can hear it, it'll change the world. A lot of these cats, a lot of these young cats will go and try to find different revenues, and you know, they don't have to be like this. They don't have to be like this. They didn't have to live the way I did. And I'm upfront. I can admit that I've done a lot of bullshit. I tried to create shit that will fuck up the name Mob James. Uh, you know, but I realized can't nobody kill Mob James' character but him.
Mm.
And I ended the book on that when I tell everybody I'm James Mcdonald. I killed Mob James. I got rid of him. I can't be both. I fight with that every now and then. I need to go back to being Mob James where they understand me. No, I got a lot of people understand me now. So I don't need to go back into that and be him and be destructive and continue to tear down. Continue to tear down people. Black men that I don't even know. I don't have no beef with, no encounters with. And I just couldn't live that life no more. And
Perfect
I'm better
segue.
off.
Perfect
Yeah,
segue.
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say somebody have a question here. It said,
Perfect
when
segue.
did you
Yes.
realize the gang war lifestyle was at the time instigated by others?
When I start really hearing the war stories, the gang stories, and all that shit, I start paying attention to, for instance, when they said homies was killing homies back in the days. Didn't want to believe it because we were so close. But then
Right.
when reality set in, you couldn't help but believe it. And that's when the cocaine thing came. And you start seeing different neighborhoods and people start getting killed by their own people. So that's when you had to open your eyes a little wider and pay attention to the people that you deal with, which today they call them your friends, or your best friend is your worstest friend, or your enemy. 2002, when my brother was killed, I knew right then and there, done.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't represent a neighborhood and live this life that I was living and giving my all to when my own people took my brother's life. I couldn't do it no more. So
Go ahead.
in 2002, Mob James was done. He was dead. I killed him. I got rid of him. It was hard, but I had to let him go. I had to let him go and live the right way, which is what I'm doing now. I was a man that I couldn't say thank you, Jesus, in front of the homeboys because I didn't want no nigga to think that that was a sign of weakness or I'm getting weak. You fuck around and be dead playing with me. So I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Right now today, I can say thank you, Jesus. I'm blessed. In the name of Jesus. I can pray. I can read my Bible. And I don't care who around. I don't care who hear that. This is my life. So nothing else matters but what I'm doing today. And I have a lot of people trying to take me out of that character. And they know damn well they don't want to see Mob James. They know
And you
they
know what?
don't. Go
And you
ahead.
know what? To go into that, bro. I remember sharing a clip of you. This was like a while back. You and Charleston White when y'all was in that same facility together, and it got real hectic in there. Now I'm looking at what people are saying on the internet, and I was like, dude, knowing how we know about you, I'm like, man, he could have ripped his eye off the socket, but you know he's a better man right now. You know what I mean? But let us know how that happened, and going forward, where you going forward with that?
Well, after that was over, I came home. I came back to California, put my shit in the trunk, and came home. I didn't look at it as nothing big. If Charleston White was 2 feet taller, I'd have broke his motherfucking neck. But he's standing down here, and I see the fear in him. So I didn't push the issue. Back in my days, you didn't get no credit for doing something to somebody that wasn't gonna do nothing back or try. And that would have been a waste of time for me. And I'd have been in Lord knows what, because I know he would have told the police. So I didn't fuck with him. I let him go. And the next day, I saw Charleston, tapped him on his ass, and just said, "You good, baby?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm good. All right, bring your ass over here. Let's put this fire together for the kids." And he came over, built the wood, put the wood together with me for the fire, the bonfire, and I went on by my business. So, listening to Charleston White talk and this Dewberry Dewberry, this Dewberry say, what motherfucker, I sit there and talk to you, but see, people don't say what happened off the camera. So
Right.
talking to him and what I'm gonna do, what I could have did, he ain't saying it would have you'd have touched Charleston, you'd have had a problem. Because he'd have got fucked up too. He'd have got fucked up too. And if I had to end my visit that way, then so be it. Hey, I'm all about protecting mine. So at the camp out, them cats was good. I did my thing and I left. So them talking, everybody's seen the truth. I asked Charleston, just tell me you want it. And it would have been a done deal. I didn't have a choice after that. I'm on plan B now. And it'd be the greed, I'd have broke his ass off.
And
Charleston
see,
White probably never would have been.
and see, that's the one thing about it, James, that people don't understand that it takes a long, long, long time to get to where you're at from what you have endured and been through. And for you to grow, to evolve, to stand faithfully and concretely in your faith and your convictions as a man changed, this is what people have to understand. You may not practice those old ways no more, but those old ways are still something you learned and are in you to a degree. And people have to understand, don't make that man have to show you at least for 1% of it why he had the reputation that he did. But, some people, like G Magic from 88 said, the beast in me is sleeping, not dead. And people need to understand that, you know.
Right. Well,
Um,
like I say, I look at it like, you know, I'm a different person,
mhm.
and I just wish to live. I'm 60 years old. I'm not out there gang banging. I'm not in your way. So let me just live my life. Let me do what I'm doing and stop trying to drag me into your bullshit. But
Right.
misery love company, if you got a reputation, these people want to try to drag you because this is a real story. It's a lot of brothers out there my age that made it through it. Might not have went through as much, but made it through it. And let me be me. Let me be me. I ain't looking for nobody. Your words don't mean shit. I understand that. I learned that. Just because they say that don't mean you gotta prove or you gotta kill to protect uh, your honor, your namesake. None of those things mean shit to me. Living and being responsible and taking care of the things I need to take care of. I'm not going to do life in prison and I can't take care of my loved ones, my grandson. So I'm going to do what I got to do to stay out here so I can continue to protect. Will I kill for them? Yes, I will. Will I go
Absolutely.
to
And we get
prison for
it.
them? Yes, I will. But we're not going for that to happen. So I ain't got to worry about none of that. I don't have to worry about none of that. So, you know, it's just a whole lot of people out there like me um, that are that truly understand what growing up and understanding and elevating with all this shit. And I'm just glad to be amongst those that made it out, that got a
Kind of,
chance to live life the
yeah,
way I should.
kind of as a anecdotal cousin to it. It's kind of like sounding like how Dre left Death Row. Um, I still have that Source magazine from 1996 when Dre talked about why he made the decision to leave when he did, because kind of a cousin to yourself. Dre said, I saw too much that was going on and I had to get away from it. He's like, it was just too unpredictable, and there is a point where you
Dre got
realize,
scared.
go ahead.
Dre was scared, and
Hmm.
Dre didn't know how to say I want out when he wanted out.
Right.
He worked himself to that. Dre
Got
was
you.
scared that he might become a victim any day.
Hmm.
Dre was on pins and needles. I don't care what nobody say. You
We
know,
believe it.
it wasn't a huh?
We believe it. We believe it. Knowing
Yeah,
the stories we know and we've heard from people off
yeah,
air, we believe it.
right. So let's give Dre credit for leaving. Dre had another opportunity. He didn't leave until that opportunity came. He signed on the dotted line and he walked away from Death Row with nothing.
Right.
And he did the right thing. And it was his choice. And, it wasn't nothing Suge could do about it. Nigga, you done took my woman. Suge did everything in the book to disrespect Dre, belittle him.
Mm-hmm. We went out for a second, ladies and gentlemen, but we should be back momentarily with the one and only James McDonald, aka Mob James. This has been, if you've been with us the whole way, this has been an unbelievable and insightful and incredible and intelligent conversation. Shout out to some of the people in our queue who have been listening to us. Anthony C. Henderson, Spirit Wonder, we appreciate you so much, always for being with us. Shout out to my mom and dad for listening. Love you both. Thank you for tuning in with us.
Absolutely, man. Pretty interesting show right here.
Absolutely. We're waiting for him to get back. We got a few minutes before we log off, but King, we knew this was going to be special. Once again, shout out to BC and Derek for this. Thank you again. This has been incredible. And shout out to Nene, a brutally opinionated podcast who did an interview with Mob a couple years ago and did an incredible job in terms of her talking to him and getting to know James McDonald, the man, as well. King, we've heard so much about this man, but I think the most rewarding thing we have found with this is to get to know the man. Okay. Mob, you with us?
I'm trying to get him back to you now.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Okay, we got him. He should be coming in momentarily.
Here I go.
Okay, we got you. Yeah. But when you think, and when you think about that, like you said, Mob, and a lot of people know the story, some don't, but you figure Dre, like you said, was able to leave because Dre was 50% owner in Death Row. So all he had to do was pretty much just give his share up. What did people, when you saw how business was handled just in terms of what was going on at that time, what did you see in terms of how business should be conducted and how business should not be conducted dealing with people, which is the most important element?
Well, when everything started going bad for me, I had to pay attention to the homies going against each other.
Right.
And one rule we had growing up in Compton and being a Paru, that we never go against the grain.
Right.
That we never do the unthinkable to, you know what I'm saying? Once I seen that was breached, it was time to go. So we opened up Let Me Ride Hydraulics. I did that, so I didn't have to be around the bullshit. It was some people that I didn't want to put my hands on, and I didn't. So I was never a Suge yes man. I was never, if I didn't like it, I didn't do it. And it became more common to do shit that wasn't even necessary. You know what I'm saying? I walked away. I knew this was it. Other than that, it would have sent me back to prison. And I didn't get this far to go back to prison, so I walked away from the bullshit. And I wouldn't participate in that. I didn't have no arguments with the homies. I had no dog in that fight. I was good.
Tell us about that
Like I
transition
told
into
y'all, I
doing
was getting my
Low
money.
Riders.
Yeah, I was gonna say this to you.
Huh?
I was saying that what I was gonna say though, T is many would say that Tupac getting killed in Vegas is what sped everything up to where everything crumbled real quick, but the cracks was already showing.
That's true. And
Hmm.
they created that in Pac because Pac wanted to be, and by him trying to show his loyalty to the homies, trying to show his loyalty to Suge, Tupac was never a Compton nigga.
Right,
So he
right,
shouldn't have never got into the Compton partnership.
right, right,
Tupac put his hands on a let's say a little Mark James. And what I mean by that, he put his hands on the person that didn't accept getting his ass whooped or touched or being handled in that demeanor, the way it happened. Tupac never seen this dude. Tupac never heard of that boy name. So Tupac should have never got in that situation when it was a blood and crip thing.
right,
If
right,
if Southside Crips did, we already have at what you call war with them. The homies should have took care of that. And Suge and Pop should have stayed to the side. Suge
right,
wouldn't have went to prison, and Tupac wouldn't have got killed. So they handled that wrong. It would have been handled totally different. See, I would have fucked up Trayvon, who whispered to Tupac and say, "There you go, they tried to take my chain." I'd have fucked him up all through Vegas. Why you didn't go handle your own motherfucking business?
right.
He should have been dealt with.
Yeah. And I mean, especially in what you said, we just keep it from the business politics. You keep the money guys away from the trouble. That's what you have the muscle for, to take care of
I,
problems.
I kept it, I kept it
Um,
straight business. I
yeah,
didn't
and
hang with Tupac now. I didn't hang with Snoop Dogg. I didn't hang with Das and Corrupt. I didn't hang with none of them dudes. I see them dudes and keep walking. I'm a gang member. I'm not living that life. I don't want to be around no damn celebrity. I don't want to. I'm not a groupie. Unlike some of them cats, or one of those cats, when Tupac died, he get a big old mirror on his arm. I ain't one of them dudes. I ain't one of them niggas. Oh yeah, you want to meet Tupac? You want to meet Snoop Dogg? I ain't one of them. And when I bodyguard for Snoop Dogg at his trial, his murder case, his trial, I stayed away from him. I walked as far as the elevators. He went up the elevators. Man, my people turned around and went the other way. When it was over with, his car. But I didn't kick it with him. Let's take a picture. No, that ain't my job. That wasn't my job. I was still lightweight in that lifestyle. I'm a blood. I wasn't fucking with them. I was getting paid to protect them. So it's a difference.
right, right.
You got a thug nigga that's a straight groupie. He shouldn't be here. Should
Dang, Nip, damn it. We always get the good content and then this happens.
Man, you know how they be up here on the internet, man. They be trying to strong arm it.
Man, listen. Yo, I mean, but that's real though. And Mob was given some real game because when you're on a job, you're on the job. And that's the responsibility and discipline that you have being on the job. You're supposed to concentrate on what the job is at hand. And that's real facts of what he was saying. Um, but that's, when we look at When we look at how it is, man, we've been blessed to do this. But one thing about it is when we've done this show, King, is we've been in this together for so many years.
Yes,
We've
sir.
always learned this, that our job as journalists is to be impartial and fair, and when we conduct an interview, we're going to ask questions. We're never going to be disrespectful, but we're going to ask for the
Yeah,
truth.
we
And
just
that's
let
the
people know. We just letting people know how we get down for those who just chiming in because Mob James has a following, and we probably had people that never even knew about our show following just based off that alone. That's
right.
how we do it around here. You know what I'm saying? Like we let people tell their stories and bear their truth. That's what we
Absolutely.
do as journalists. You know what I'm saying? We let people tell the truth from their perspective, and we keep it respectful.
And most importantly, we want to make sure that this outlet is one of integrity and honesty. And most importantly, the respect for our audience and our guests. Um, and for those listening who have taken the time out of their evening to join us, we thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you all. God bless you all.
He's back.
And okay, and he's back. All right. Okay, now, and hopefully they won't try to mess with us no more. Mob, what you said about the discipline that you had in terms of understanding your job and not getting caught up in the limelight, how did you transition that discipline and tenacity into being a lowrider enthusiast and building cars? We need to hear this story.
It was like a project. It was like something I needed to do something else. And
Mm-hmm.
when he brought it up, and I said, let's do the lowriders, didn't know jack shit about lowriders. But I had one of my little homeboys, Boomer, that knew how to do it because he had a lowrider. And I
Mm-hmm.
and I had the Chronic, Dr. Dre lowrider.
Okay.
And when they opened shop, I took all the shit out of Dr. Dre car because I said, fuck Suge. I stripped that down. I did, no, for real. I stripped the car and I
Right.
put some of the shit in Boomer's lowrider to make his shit better. And the first car we ever got, the money, the half of the money that he put up for his car already had the shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that shit and put it in his car and used the money to get the other shit that was needed. And we started making money off of that. So
Mm-hmm.
being business minded and being focused and comfortable in doing lowriders, now I'm in the groove. So what I did is try to elevate the shop. I hired my grandfather, I hired my uncle. Uh, I had my grandfather and my uncle doing all the like mechanic shit. If they needed something wrong with the engine, my grandfather and uncle fixed that shit. My grandfather is a mechanic by trade, working on diesels and shit. And he taught all his sons how to work on cars. So my grandfather, uh, truck and tools got stolen. I went and bought him a car from the homeboy and put him in the car so he can get his tools and everything to the shop so he can make money. And we made money. So it was just a good fit for me. And doing it positive in a positive way and making for real money without, going out there and had to put my hands on people or cut Suge out to get it. It was easy for me. It was easy. And I learned something I never knew before.
How
So
gra- how gratifying was that?
it was good, man. It was good. It elevated me. It changed my mindset. It was so many positive things that I saw that I could do, and I took that and like marijuana growth. You know what I'm saying? I see a motherfucker making marijuana back then, and I applied that to this in my house. I took one whole bedroom and I bought a tent, and I was paying my bills with that. Just growing my weed. And, you know, I said I could do it. And like none of this other shit was hard for me. It wasn't hard for me. I understood my upbringing. I understood where I went wrong. I understood what I didn't do right. And at first I had to stop blaming other people
Mm-hmm.
for the losses, my mishaps, and all that other shit. Man, I control this. I control all my faults and my failures. If I fail, motherfucker, get up. You've been doing it all the time, but I didn't know that's what I was doing from the beginning of time. Every time I failed, every time I got an ass whooping for this reason or that reason, I I changed the game. Let that not be the reason no more. Uh, let not putting the gun on my waist and going to hang out and look for somebody. Uh, my father is not the reason why I'm doing this no more. I'm doing this shit because, but I blamed it on him. He the reason why I'm out here like that. No, this is my life. I got past that shit. I gave it all to God, and I don't worry about it no more. So it made me a better person. It made
To
me think,
realize to realize that you found the talent because you always to find it because you always had the discipline, but to find out that you were able to unlock a talent, um, and to be able to share that with other people, how how does that make you feel knowing that you've empowered more people with the education that you have, that you've been able to attain?
before my mother passed, she told me I'm gonna do great things. She told me that God is gonna forgive me for the things I've done.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna reward me and bless me for the things I do. I feel so good by the things I do. I don't brag or boast, but I'm proud of myself because I go to a place and I buy 100 blankets and I cook a big pot of soup and I go feed the homeless and give out blankets. Um, I'm proud to be in a place where I can get in my car and drive to Texas, Virginia, and talk to a woman that got two little boys that want to be rough and disrespectful to her. To my boy in Texas, I go out there and he didn't think I was coming, and I pop up, and the first thing he did was cry. Like, damn, you care about my life? I wouldn't be here.
Mm.
Talk is cheap. I'm here. That man driving trucks, living a hell of a better life. Uh, South Carolina, my little boy out there. Um, I went to see him because Matt was feeling in bad, and I got on the plane and went out there. And when I got there, he had four of his other buddies there. And all of them guys, after my visit, they have turned out to be young men. One of them got killed. He didn't change. One
Rest
got
in
killed
peace.
that was something. But I thank God for the impact that he allowed me to make on certain people. I had a brother that thanked me for his son graduating and him not bearing his son. I told him that ain't on me. Your son graduated because you put him in front of my videos. And it's you. I'm just a vessel for God, bro. And I applauded him. I applauded his son for graduating. You know, haven't talked to him in a long time. I haven't talked to Rodney in Texas. I helped him, but it wasn't me. And I looked at it like this. Every time I do a video, every time I go and talk to somebody, I ask God to give me the right words to say. Don't allow me to be this other person and get aggressive, and then they say, I don't want to listen to that dude. So I put my stories, and I can tell a story the way I know I should, not being aggressive, but being humble and having people understand it. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yes, sir, man. And we probably got to wrap it up a little bit because I don't want the StreamYard to cut off while we talking, man. But we want to thank you once again for taking the time out to tell your story and to let people know that you're here to make a change and you're here to make a positive change for our youth in the coming futures.
You went out.
Mob, he went out, but Mob, he was saying we just appreciate you so much. Thank you for this incredible interview. One of insightfulness, one of faith, one of redemption, one of perseverance, overcoming, and most importantly, giving God the grace, the glory, and of course, his essence that has enabled you to empower others with your extraordinary gift and your tales. You're welcome back anytime. Is there anything, is there any message that you like to give in closing to our audience, to the young people out there that may be struggling, that may be hurting, for anyone out there that just needs a word of faith and upliftment?
Yeah. Everybody's story ain't the same. So what I did was sit back and reflect on my life up until where I'm at today. So if these young cats can just sit back and pay attention and see or think where their life gonna be in the next 5 years, start making goals. This is where I want to be in 5 years. It works. Stop believing that everything you do and all the cats you hang with are your friends. Everybody ain't our friends. And you don't want to wait till you my age to get it. You don't want to be 40 to get it. Having a job, going to school, educate yourself, understand who you are. You don't need a group of people to define who you are. Like some of the young women, they believe that they need or have to have a man to validate who they are. Be a strong woman regardless of what. Pay attention to your daily activities. What you know is wrong, don't do it. If you know it's right, roll with it. Don't allow anybody to tell you you ain't nothing and you ain't gonna amount to nothing. Nobody can tell your story better than you, just like myself. And no matter what the outcome is, believe in God and believe that God can change all the things in your life that ain't right for you. Use it like it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and just believe in God. And it works for me, and I guarantee you it'll work for you. I appreciate you, brothers, for having me on here, allowing me to speak without being interrupted. Man, anytime that you guys want me to come on your show, you got my phone number now. Call me. And man, I ain't got nothing but uplifting things. And I appreciate you, brothers, for having me.
Mob, we love you so much,
No
and
doubt, brother.
thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're welcome back anytime. Our love, our best to you and your family this
Thank you.
Thanksgiving season. Be blessed, be abundantly anointed, and keep the faith always. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
again.
No doubt, man. And
Yes,
big
sir.
shout out to Derek for making this connection happen as well, man.
Right, right. All right,
Absolutely.
man.
BC, Derek,
Appreciate it.
thank you again. And King, take us out of here. Mob, thank you again.
Salute.
All right,
Salute.
we up out of here, man. Catch us in the go around, man. But thank you once again. Big shout out to everybody for joining us with us. And we'll be right back whenever anybody calls us.
Peace, everyone. God
All
bless.
right.
Thank you again. All right, we out.